welcome back to No More Heroes. Travis strikes again. It's time for the actual DLC level Killer Marathon.
Got what on earth is Shinobu wearing?
Stuff.
Looks like standard anime
Bullshit?
shonen bullshit. Yeah.
Yeah, she's wearing bullshit. I can see that. I'm trying to work out in my head how one actually puts such an outfit on, and it's not coming to me.
You remember?
It's functionally just the top and pants with one leg missing.
You remember Tidus's short design in Final Fantasy X? Was like one was clearly shorter than the other.
Well, one was like he had like two zip-off shorts, and he'd only zipped off one of the other, if I remember.
Yeah, exactly. That asymmetry really spoke with Shinobu.
Look,
Well, I'm
no one should emulate anything about Tidus ever in their entire life. Like, he is probably the worst role model I could ever think of.
I would say his Dissidia outfit is worse.
It's just
Okay, but that doesn't make his Final Fantasy X outfit good.
Okay, here's the thing.
Debatable.
Here's the thing about the Dissidia outfits. Okay, the characters in Dissidia were like designed by Tetsuya Nomura, but he also like wanted them to be based on the Yoshitaka Amano illustrations. The Yoshitaka Amano illustrations are a very specific kind of style. So a lot of the time,
Your mileage may greatly vary.
yeah, a lot of the time we got like straight up renditions of his stuff, but when it came to the characters that Nomura himself had originally designed, what we got was Tetsuya Nomura's version of Yoshitaka Amano's version of Tetsuya Nomura's design. So it was very awkward in places. That's why Squall has that weird flap of random leather hanging off of his hip, because that was something Amano did in the Final Fantasy VIII illustrations for whatever reason.
That's why Tidus has that random as fuck Christmas ornament hanging from his collar.
Yeah, it's why his collar like defies gravity too. I don't know what
Yes.
Amano was thinking.
There are just some things that work better as illustrations, not so much 3D
Let's
models.
just hope that we never get Kina Ken in Dissidia, okay? Because that eldritch monstrosity is something that no mortal eye should ever see. It will literally drive you
Who is
insane.
Kina Ken?
Kina is the blue mage
From
from
Nine.
9, yes. With the tongue
Oh, okay.
hanging out.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I mean, we might if we ever do get to a Final Fantasy IX remake in the same.
Okay,
season
you
7.
said Kina, and for some reason I thought it was spelt like K-I-N-A.
No,
and I
Kina with a
thought, like,
Q. Kina with a Q.
Yeah, it's like, okay, now I know what you're talking about.
So,
Yeah.
okay, I've seen the Amano illustration for both Vivi and Kina, and they both look like Lovecraftian, like straight up nightmare fuel in Yoshitaka Amano's designs. Which is interesting because some of the other characters are really just more realistic versions of their in-game versions, but for some reason those two, I don't get it. Hey, it's the long-awaited DLC.
How long did it take for this to come out?
A few months, not too bad.
So this is a cartridge-based game system, right?
Yes.
So are we looking at like some long-lost Sega Channel shit here?
Yeah, he's just breaking the fourth wall. This is the actual sixth death drive ball.
I like when people are. I like when games with comedic tones have a little more self-awareness of the DLC and all that sort of thing. My favorite is probably Gilgamesh from Final Fantasy 13.
I thought you'd never download this.
Yeah, I was starting to worry that you'd never download this part of the game.
The writing in Final Fantasy 13 too is a special kind of disaster, but sometimes it's good. Like, there are moments.
Yeah, here's the stuff we have to get in this level.
I thought the coins were spelling at 100.
No, it was go.
Go with an arrow
go.
pointing
Oh,
forward,
okay.
yeah.
Yep, this is a quote unquote speedrunning. Of course, you have to get to the end by the time the clock runs out.
Why did you go to the trouble of why did you go to the trouble of collecting all those coins and then leave like 3 behind?
You know what? This is the good old days of BrainScratch. No more heroes and Lewis complaining about Ryan leaving something.
No,
behind.
I'm not complaining that he left stuff behind. I'm complaining that he went to the trouble of collecting most of it, which he shouldn't have been doing in the first place. It's a timed mission. But, like,
It's the first one, so I have plenty of time.
Maybe that's the point. Maybe it's like risk versus reward.
yeah, but it's
shiny,
like
though.
either go all the way or don't do it at all.
See, like right there, he missed the one, and that made me
Yeah,
Swerved by it, yeah.
So what does the DLC entail? I know we would likely ask this question
Well,
already.
this is-
Like I said, you got the VN for Batman, which we skipped over because it's just a part of visual novel.
Well, you know, this is obviously...
we had the VN we did last part, and we have this stage, which getting both of those unlocked Shinobu as a playable character and Batgirl.
Well, this is obviously the Casino Night Zone DLC, right? But
I mean, kinda. If you bought the physical version of this game, which I don't know if there's any new ones still out there that you could get, but if you bought the physical version, you got the DLC for free. So
do the pinballs damage you or what?
yes,
Oh, okay. Oh,
Game of Hungry Hippos.
Hungry Hippos, yeah. That's actually...
Yeah, with skulls. It's pretty metal.
Do you think that was an intentional reference on their parts, or just a coincidentally funny
No,
thing?
No, it's just
the
pinball.
skulls don't hit. The skulls don't eat the balls. They just bounce off.
yeah, you don't put the balls in their mouth.
Yeah, no, that's Mr. Bucket.
Well,
I mean, you're still putting balls in Hippo's mouth in Hungry Hippo.
well, I'm saying if you wanted to do a pinball stage with a Hungry Hippos reference, it would totally fit because the little balls in the Hungry Hippos games were like just little metal balls that resemble pinball balls.
That's why, in a way, I'm also kind of reminded of the pinball mini games in Crash Bash for a
Little
little
bit.
more of an obscure
Or
pull.
wait, were they? Or am I thinking of Mousetrap? I might be thinking Mousetrap actually.
Mousetrap had the ball, but it never freaking worked. I don't think I've ever gotten the trap in Mousetrap to successfully go off, even once.
I think I might have seen it happen with older versions, but one of the things I've noticed about some of the classic board games is that they've gotten cheaper in their construction over time. Like, you won't find the Game of Life with that cool, like, three-dimensional board anymore.
Oh, they don't have the three-dimensional board anymore?
You can
that's a
shop
shame.
online for it, but you'll probably be getting an older version of it, and it'll be quite expensive. Whereas if you buy a modern copy of the game, it's just a regular board.
Not to mention that many of the older versions, if they've been used, probably are worn down a good amount, I would imagine.
It's unfortunate that, you know, tabletop gaming as a whole isn't as popular as it could be. And I'm not talking about stuff like Monopoly, although that stuff obviously would appeal to the same general market. I mean, just tabletop gaming as a whole. You walk past the tabletop section every time you go through the merch floor at MomoCon and stuff, right? And
Well, it's because it's expensive is the thing.
yeah,
I mean, I wouldn't say necessarily because it's expensive, because a tabletop game, well, yes, it is like 60 or 70 bucks. That's not that much different than a video game. The problem is you need people in order to be able to play it,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
yeah.
So-
The thing that got me thinking about this actually was that when I was in Ticonderoga, well, I wasn't in Ticonderoga. I went to Ticonderoga and then drove for 45 minutes to get to a movie theater because that was
Did
the
you buy pencils?
No. Because that was the closest movie theater to Ticonderoga. They need a movie theater. God damn it, someone build one. But, like, while waiting for the movie at this, like, really cheap, like, mom and pop's tier movie theater, we had, like, an hour and a half to kill, so we just shopped around. We went by a tabletop gaming shop, and they had tabletop games for rent. Like, you could go into this back room and there were a whole bunch of games, and you could rent them and take them home with you. I thought that was interesting. But
Well, it's the only way you can really get people into it at this point.
A lot of tabletop places also make a lot of their money from like Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh or Magic cards.
yeah, they
As
had
well,
a lot of cards there.
That's probably where they're making the majority of their money, actually, because it's a really high profit margin and
yeah.
very little.
Once someone's into it, that same person will keep spending money on it. Whereas, you know,
Yes.
you buy a game like Descent, for example, yeah, occasionally they release an expansion box with more stuff for Descent, but it's very occasional.
Yeah, why can't you just be normal and buy drugs?
Anime, drugs would be cheaper.
Yes. Sadly, yes.
Especially if Aniplex has anything to say about it.
But don't you want to spend $70 for 8 episodes of anime, Ryan? We'll
Fuck
throw
no.
in this cheap figurine and a coin.
Oh, you're
Make
lucky
it
if you
work.
get a figurine. It's mostly just like art, like cheap postcard prints now.
Don't you want this art book of exclusive art that has already been leaked
Good.
onto the internet?
Yeah, this looks like
But it's real high quality paper.
this is a printed JPEG.
I mean,
No, Aniplex, we don't want to spend 120 to 150 bucks for a 10 episode season.
Hey, I was promised a PNG. The checkerboard is still behind the image.
Someone's actually been looking at my Twitter today, huh?
Yes.
dude, it's so annoying when you're trying to edit together things, and it's like, I can't just copy the PNG from
Dude.
Google. I have to download it and then add it to GIMP separately. It adds a whole 30 seconds, and I'm not about it in my life.
Dude, okay, trying to find like good high quality images for really old games for use in thumbnails is a nightmare, and I pretty much just gave up with Legacy of Kain.
That's mostly why we use just use the screen cap the parts.
Yeah, but some games are too old for that. Like, you can't make a good screen
No, I'm
cap
ta- I'm
thumbnail
talking-
ever.
No, I'm talking about what we do, where we just screen cap, where we just take a screenshot of the part and then just add her logo over it.
Yeah, but that's what Lewis was
Yeah.
getting at earlier. Like, saying if we were recording something really old, God forbid, like an Ultima game.
Oh,
from,
yes.
like the 80s.
You could,
You can't just use screenshots because it is so visually unappealing.
yeah, and John knows what he's talking about there because he watched me playing it at the airport once. It is.
Yeah, that's what I.
Yeah, you were right there. You
Yeah, I do vaguely recall it. I have a few other folks that play Ultima as well,
But
I
like
guess it
even
would be the
even when you
closest
get
one.
into the newer games like Ultima 7, the graphical style they went with is, well, let's just say there's a good reason that not very many other games adopted that style.
God forbid we ever play Dwarf Fortress.
Dwarf Fortress.
So in those kind of cases, you have to gotta spruce up the thumbnail to make it appealing.
Dwarf Fortress is basically an ASCII game. Like, the entire game
Functionally,
is
yes.
done.
Oh,
yeah,
well,
like,
no, John. Just make a thumbnail of the boss fight with the Balrog in a Calabeth, and it'll work. It'll work, and no one's gonna think that's ugly at all. That's one that I don't think anyone listening to this knows.
Okay, so here's the thing, though. If you're gonna, I'm looking up Dwarf Fortress now, and if you're gonna make thumbnails for this, you just gotta look up really high quality ASCII art of completely unrelated things.
okay, so can we go on a tangent from our tangent for a moment and say that back when game FAQs guides were still the thing, so many of them had like really high quality ASCII art, like of
Oh,
the main
my
For like
favorite.
logos and shit. Yeah.
To go on a tangent of that tangent, my favorite FAQs and guides are from folks who want to write a guide and think they're comedians at the same time, therefore wasting my time with their unfunny jokes. No, I'm not bitter. Just get to the point. I'm here for help, not here for your commentary. Please, just tell me where this fucking treasure is.
I don't think I've ever encountered anything quite like that.
I don't think I have either. What game hurt you in this way, John?
I don't want to put the thing on blast.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, dude, John, that person probably hasn't logged into GameFAQs for 12 years.
No, I'm not gonna do it.
If they have, they're not using the same username anymore. I guarantee it.
Yeah.
Or maybe I'm just projecting.
Did you win?
The first level, yes.
Good job, son.
Good job, son guy.
This would be a horrible pinball machine. Wooden planks are not good for pinball. Just gonna put that out there.
It's an aesthetic.
No, these are
Also,
actual.
we should have gotten Donnie for
No,
this.
look, those are actual like three-dimensional, textured with like bumps and stuff, wooden planks in the game world. You could see it really well when it was close to the floor.
This isn't Windows Pinball.
Space Cadet.
Windows Space Paintball.
Windows Space Cadet was the jam back in my day.
For kids who didn't have internet in the early 2000s.
That was the most in-character Travis touchdown moment in this entire playthrough. Travis walking into the flippers just as they flipped open, and twice.
Space Cadet or Ski Free?
Ski Free.
That freaking
I had Ski Free first.
Ski
before I
Free
got
was
Space
every
Cadet.
90s kid's first horror game.
Yes.
Really?
The frickin' Yeti, man.
Dude, the fucking Yeti, dude. The Sasquatch. It comes out of nowhere and eats you whole.
I don't even know what you're talking about, man. I thought I...
You've never played Ski Free?
You never played Ski Free?
No.
Maybe you... No, okay, maybe... See, here's the thing. Ski Free is one of those games that I'm pretty sure everyone has played at least once, but don't know that it's called Ski Free.
It was one of the games that came for free on every like Windows 95 or 98.
Oh, I never touched that crap.
I'll find the video. I'll post it on the Discord, and let's see if it... I don't know. Maybe it
Rejiggers
triggers
any-
a memory.
Rejiggers any traumatic memories.
My PC...
But it's like you think it's just this normal skiing game, right? Where you do the stick figure guy, you go down,
You're going down the slope, zip, zop, zoobity bop.
and then suddenly a Yeti shows up and frickin' eats you, and there's blood all over the place. Like we're not
And the
even
Yeti, and
joking.
the Yeti's fucking terrifying.
I think I
Yeah,
might have
dude.
seen it in a computer class once or twice.
You've definitely seen it.
But, like, I don't have much experience with Windows 95, 98 stuff. That's kind of a gap in my computer history. Like, we might have had a Windows 95 computer for a while, but it was during that era where, like,
Well, you
my parents...
probably had it at school.
My school computer class was like, we have 1 million Macs and one Windows 95 computer that everyone fights over because Croc and Harry Potter are on it. And I got to spend, like, 10 minutes on it collectively in my entire time there. So you're damn right I was playing Croc.
Imagine being so bored that you actually think playing Croc is an acceptable use of your time.
Come on, Croc's not bad.
Croc's
That's not bad.
Also, the alternative in computer class was Simant, so...
Or you could look.
Ted, let's put it this way. Are you going to watch Captain Planet or whatever shit Cartoon Network has on at 4 p.m.?
Okay, yeah, but that doesn't mean that the shit that Cartoon Network has is good.
That said,
Makes
Croc
it
2 is
better.
pretty okay.
Okay.
Never played Croc 2. I've only played the
Well,
first.
it feels more like a traditional platformer, so... Just by default, it's better.
If you want a really bad game, play Croc on the Game Boy. Because there is a Croc on the Game Boy, and it is bad. It is very, very bad.
And the thing, they tried to pitch it to Nintendo as a Yoshi game.
You want to know something that's surprisingly not bad? Tomb Raider on Game Boy. Because,
You know
like...
what? I can see that.
It basically translates into being an easier version of like Prince of Persia or Flashback or something. It's got the same kind of control to it, and that fits because that's what the 3D games were more or less based on. Huh. But like they had 2 full games of that on the Game Boy Color, and they're both pretty okay. I was surprised. Laura looks...
Did anyone ever play Mortal Kombat on Game Boy Color?
I played Tony Hawk on Game Boy Color.
I had Street Fighter on Game Boy Pocket. Street Fighter 2.
I had Tony Hawk Pro Skater on Game Boy Advance, and that's to this day the only Tony Hawk game I've ever played.
Well, Street Fighter on Game Boy Pocket. Let me just explain this to people who don't know much about Street Fighter. Street Fighter requires 6 buttons, and the Game Boy has 2.
Yep.
Look, needing 6 buttons is for weaklings, alright? Look, you figure it out, okay? I'm just gonna go take this Street Fighter port money and use it to make Street Fighter 2 Super Ultra Championship Edition Turbo.
EX plus
Now
Alpha.
featuring another recolor of Ken.
Featuring the Yeti from Ski Free.
This
Yes.
Yeti from...
You
Yeti
know what?
from
If Yeti from Ski Free got into Street Fighter, I would buy it.
Look, yeah, but with that gore, it needs to be in Mortal Kombat, though.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
going to say, it's better as a Mortal Kombat character.
Because
Yeah,
it's...
the most famous horror icon in gaming. We've done through all the cinematic icons. It's time to do gaming horror icons. And so
Yeah.
The first one is the Yeti from Ski Free.
Ski Free should be right on top of the list.
Oh my god. What terrified you more, Nemesis, the hulking zombie abomination, or the Yeti from Ski Free?
Well, they're the same one.
Man,
I mean,
Wait,
yeah,
so
they don't
Nemesis
stop.
is a
They-
Yeti?
I mean, it's not wrong because they both don't stop until they get you.
I feel so alone
Yes.
in the universe. You guys are talking about Ski Free, and here I am just thinking, man, you know, no one on the planet besides me, has played Jill of the Jungle, have they?
I at least heard of Jill of the Jungle. You never heard of Ski Free.
Well, look, if you heard about it because I was tweeting about it a month ago, that doesn't count.
Yes.
That doesn't count, okay?
To quote Jack Sparrow, but we have heard of it.
You don't even need me to tell
Did
you
you
about
just
the
call
game
him Jack Spyro?
I said Sparrow.
I wasn't gonna say anything.
Fine, whatever.
You did, yeah.
You don't even need me to tell you about Jill of the Jungle anymore, okay? It's free on Good Old Games. Just go play it. It takes 2 hours to get through the whole trilogy.
Or, Lewis, you could record it for us.
I
And that'll be good enough.
could do that. That's one that make
If it only takes 2 hours, you can do it in an afternoon.
I could, yes, but after Pandemonium, I feel like that would be reaching a little too far into the obscurity barrel. I'll have to think about it. I'll seriously have to think about it.
What is the most obscure game we've done?
Probably E,
Yeah,
because that was a random RPG maker. horror
RPG Maker game.
One of the better known ones, though.
That's true. It's either that or Shin Megami Tensei Strange
That-
Journey Prologue Synchronicity. That's probably up
Sorry, that
there.
was a fucking mouthful.
Yes, I know.
Welcome to JRPGs, John.
Oh wait, no, I know a game that is obscure because nobody ever heard about it or cares about it. It's called F-Zero.
Oh, shut up. At least we still get into Smash Brothers.
I mean, so do Ice Climbers. That's not saying much.
Yeah, we'll see you all next part, I guess.
Fuck you guys.
I'm going home.